guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates.
Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the Mercedes GLE 300d. This is the 4th generation model, and you know what, it was first known as the ML. Actually M, then BMW was like, M is used by us, so they changed it to ML, and in the 3rd generation ML facelift they turned it to the GLE. Any which way, straight away we are going to be opening the engine bay of this vehicle. The reason I was telling you all this GAN, I'll tell you in a bit. This is the engine bay, Mercedes logo right there, some amount of noise and diesel clatter. There's insulation, of course a diesel has to have insulation. Any which ways, the design of this car is very nice indeed. You know why? Because it is the new Mercedes design language. This being the SUV equivalent of the E-Class has this twin torches. Now this one is obviously for the indicator, nice bright light. In fact, it says LED high performance on the inside, Mercedes-Benz on the side. Meanwhile, the grille is really large with the bold Mercedes logo. You get front parking sensors. You see the DRLs, this is how they are done on this car, and a lot of cuts and pieces on the hood of this vehicle. Now this car is 2 meters wide, more than 2 meters wide, and more than 4.9 meters in terms of length. Yes, this is actually quite a long car. The reason I was giving the reference to the ML is because you see this, the way the C-pillar glass has been done. This is a typical design trait of the ML class, which they have retained on the latest, or rather the 4th generation model as well. Looks very distinct. Meanwhile, the wheels are 250, 550, 19s. Alloy wheel design could be a little bit more adventurous, but the disc size is massive. And here you see air actually flows from there. Now this car doesn't get air suspension, you get body side cladding, you get a side footstep as well. No chrome door handles. It doesn't even get keyless entry. You have to actually remove the key to unlock the vehicle. There's some amount of chrome here on the outside rear view mirror, and something actually projects out of there. Just kidding. Any which ways, you see, you get this nice sort of a silver or a chrome treatment almost everywhere. Even on the inside, a lot of chrome used in this car. I'm just going to use the liberty of stepping here. Now these are side roof rails actually, which are very much functional. In fact, attention detail is crazy. It says Carl Benz right there, and the wiper has the Mercedes logo. Yeah, both the wipers have the Mercedes logo, and a lot of sensors here on the top as well. We'll come to that in a bit. Coming to this thing, we'll open this, the fuel lid. There is where the AdBlue actually goes, and it also tells you the tire pressure, like what pressure should be there maintained right there. All LEDs on this car, and the lights actually look quite nice. It says 4MATIC because all the models obviously come with 4-wheel drive, GLE 300d. I love how the lights actually merge into this sort of a chrome line or chrome bar. And again, Mercedes logo here on the wiper. You get a roof spoiler with a stop lamp. The camera is obviously hidden right there, which actually opens when you get into reverse. You get rear parking sensors, you get a chrome line here, and Faisal Khan's fingers of truth are here. Yep, that is fake, not the real exhaust. The real exhaust actually happens to be, can you find it? It's on the other side actually. This is the real exhaust of the car. Yeah, twin ports, but yeah, hidden. See the size of the wheels. The wheels look really very nice. Sort of a diffuser treatment as well. Let's do one thing. Let's open the boot of the vehicle. It obviously gets a power tailgate, and the boot is massive at 630 liters. Look at that boot. You can actually put a Tata Nano inside this car. That's how big it is. This obviously opens to reveal the spare wheel, which is not an alloy. It's a 155/80/19. It's a smaller size spare wheel, which is very chintu mintu as such. Okay, and there is actually space to keep your first aid kit, hook here, light here, and same is the case there as well. But you get a 12-volt charging socket as well. Now this is the parcel shelf. There I've put it into place, and the seats obviously recline, so you can increase the overall carrying capacity. Press this button, and there the power tailgate goes on. There's a light actually there, which is actually sort of helpful at night. Any which ways, I'm going to come to the other side just to show you the seat recline of this vehicle. As you can see, there's so much space because this is the long wheelbase version of the GLE, which is being sold in India. Here you see, there you can recline the seat with a lot of ease, but unfortunately the seat does not recline. I mean, it reclines, it folds down completely, it doesn't recline. So the recline angle is set here, which could be slightly better. But on 6-cylinder models, you actually get the option of 6-way power adjust for the rear seats, along with a 30-degree recline to increase the overall comfort of the vehicle. Not on the 4-cylinder model, unfortunately. Door pockets are humongous. Look at that. Okay, there is wood almost everywhere, lot of leather, nice stitching as well. Now this comes down when you try to open the power windows. Yeah, and that's also a cool bit that you get a power operated sun blind at the rear. We're going to put it back into place. There's a small hub, not much as such, and here I can recline this as well. Now you're going to put it back into place. The seats are actually quite heavy here. Yeah, they are very heavy. Meanwhile, you can actually recline this as well, so you get a proper 40-20-40 split format here. We're going to put this back into place. Now getting in, not a problem, you can just step onto this. Says Mercedes-Benz right there, just in case which car you're sitting and you forget all that. And overall comfort is nice, but some of the seat is on the lower side. Okay, under thigh support is just about adequate. Headroom is actually quite good because I'm sitting so low. There's good amount of knee room and leg room. The seat is obviously a little behind because that seat is ahead and I obviously sit really behind while driving the car. There are AC vents on the B pillar. There's a hook here. There's so many lights on the top as well. That's kind of cool. And this is obviously damped. A handle, there's a microphone here. Same is the case on the other side. Plenty of airbags. You get a center armrest with twin cup holders. You get storage space here. This actually moves around, and there is and there are two USB-C charging sockets as well. Air conditioning at the rear. Yeah, it gets a 4-zone air conditioning system and AC vents on the top. Slightly scooped out seat back, magazine holders, and this is sort of a thing for you to actually put your iPad as well. Dashboard design is identical to the Mercedes GLS, which is actually a good thing for GLEs, but not so good for GLS because they're like, oh, I'm driving a GLS, I bought a GLS, but I get a dashboard which is similar to the less expensive GLE. Any which ways, 3 people can sit in because the cabin is really very wide. And you see ambient lighting, lot of nice chrome bits on the car, looks fantastic, and height adjustable seat belts at the front. This can be moved quite easily. Yeah, that is actually quite easy to move. If someone's sitting there, you can actually irritate them, but not do that with the driver, of course. This brings in a lot of airy feeling. I'll just show that again, but yeah, hard plastics are also there in this car. It's kind of surprising, but yeah, lower half, hard plastics, just to get at a competitive price. Although this car is not really competitive price, you're better off getting the GLS by paying slightly more money. Yeah, I'm having a little bit less josh today because my left arm is paining a lot. I just took the second jab of the vaccine earlier today and I'm here doing the walk around of this Mercedes GLE. Meanwhile, it says Mercedes-Benz here. Just see the attention to detail is absolutely crazy. And you see the triangle here? Well, that is for the blind spot monitor, which blinks any which ways. This is for the lumbar adjustment and this is for the seat adjustment. Powered seats both at the front. However, no memory function, no ventilation, no heating, none of that. Even the GLS doesn't get ventilation or heating. It only gets it in the Maybach version. Meanwhile, you get metal treatment for the power window controls as well as the outside rear view mirror adjustment. Door pockets are massive. Look at the size of the door pockets, and obviously you've got a cup holder as well. But the door pockets are absolutely crazy massive in this car. I'm just going to slot this into place, and this is actually to open the boot of the vehicle. You get a proper dead pedal there. Again, metal switches. This is for the automatic headlight function. This is for the electric parking brake, and this is for the fog light. Meanwhile, you can see the seats are very comfortable, very big, very wide. Paddles are plastic actually. This is also sort of flimsy. Could have been better designed, or maybe they could have used this same material for that as well. Straight away on the inside, let me tell you that to differentiate this car with the GLS, of course, what they've done is they've actually used wood here. And the GLS has slightly different colors, but overall the dashboard design is identical. No change on that front. Meanwhile, the glove box is small as such. You get a pen holder, but you see the material of the glove box, that's very nice, properly lined there as well. And you see a lot of chrome, even chrome here on the quad AC vents in the center. Fake vents, obviously fake here as well, but in the center you get proper vents. Steering feels nice to hold. You get chrome treatment and really nice switches as well. In fact, all the switches in this car are fantastic. This is a proper place to keep the key. Press this button and there the front center armrest opens, and there's another USB-C charging socket along with storage, and this one is actually cooled. Yeah, I can feel some amount of air. I don't know if it's cooled or what. Meanwhile, there is the Volkswagen mask. I don't know what I'm doing with that. Meanwhile, this is a dummy just to keep your hand. This is a touchpad, not the most intuitive to use, but you get used to it as such. And this is for the camera system. Now, it doesn't get a 360-degree parking camera, unfortunately. However, yeah, that is a rear camera which just opened. 2-3 views for the same. No 360-degree parking camera, which is actually there in the 6-cylinder models. In fact, the 6-cylinder models get slightly more features when compared to this particular car, and doesn't get self-park either. Meanwhile, to browse through this, it's very easy because it's a touchscreen. It's the MBUX unit, obviously very slick with everything almost. You don't get seat kinetics here. However, ambient lighting gets 64 freaking colors. Yeah, 64 colors for the ambient lighting, and you can get into multicolor as well. Then you've got information which I'll show you while driving this car, vehicle, engine and all that. Slightly slow today, I don't know why. It's probably on a vacation. Any which ways, all the settings here very easy to operate as such. And then there's navigation, which is fantastic, really slick, really awesome. But what I like is this is such a nice system to use. It's very intuitive, and then you have themes also, you can change stuff. But here there is the instrument cluster, which again is the same size. Yeah, this is a 12.3 inch screen here. This is also a 12.3 inch screen. You can operate it using these buttons, this particular screen. So here I'm getting to home, I can actually operate it. This BlackBerry style touch is also fantastic and very nice to use. This is for the volume controller, pick up or decline a call. This is for voice commands. This one is actually used for this particular screen, and there is cruise control, of course. So here I can browse through all the information which I can browse on the left side, which is trip information, style, display, service, all of that. So I never really want to see the left screen because I have all the information right here. And then you know what, it has got 3 displays. Okay, I can actually navigate from here as well, which is very slick. So there are actually 4 displays. So this one was the classic one, this is the sport one, and it actually changes the color on both the sides. So I'm just going to put it into progressive, which I think is actually the best one. And there's something known as understated, which removes all the information. Just get out of this destination thingy because I don't like it much. Meanwhile, here this is the understated one. Now good thing is, you want to get out of this, it's very easy. You press a button here and there it comes out of it very quickly and goes back to the previous one. Now in terms of trip information, there is the usual bits which you always see, but the best thing here is that you can actually go to individual sections of this particular instrument cluster and you can make changes here as well. So that is something which you've seen on a ton of Mercedes cars, which I will come to the left side and make changes here as well. Yeah, on the left one, there you see. So this is very customizable. I think Mercedes-Benz does one of the very best instrument clusters, no freaking doubt about that. It also tells you what is the angle of the vehicle. That's again a very cool info bit which you really want. And this is obviously for the active brake assist because it has got that system in this car. And you don't know, there's another very cool bit. This is known as the full screen display. If I get into full screen display, there it changes completely, showing me 655 kilometers for distance to empty. This is also a very cool looking unit. I like it. Now it obviously gets a massive sunroof. Before that, let me show you, it gets an auto dimming mirror. There obviously is a light along with a mirror. Same is the case here as well. Light along with a mirror, and here properly damped handle. Airbag written right there. You see the ambient lighting is beautiful. Meanwhile, let's open this massive sunblind of the panoramic roof. Brings in a lot of airy feeling, assisted by this all beige treatment on the inside. Because of the all beige treatment, the cabin feels really very airy. Here I'm going to press this button, and there I'm going to open the sunroof of the car. Takes some time to open as such. It's not the fastest to open. However, look at the amount of air it brings inside and makes the cabin feel fantastically airy because of this full beige treatment. Meanwhile, you obviously get a sunglass holder here, and it gets connected car, so you obviously get Mercedes Me, SOS, and all these buttons. So that's also pretty handy. Let's use the wipers right away. Look at the amount of spray. The spray is so much nice. It's actually going onto the roof. Yeah, there you see the roof is completely wet because of the spray from the wiper. And of course, we're going to use the rear wiper as well. There you see the rear wiper in function. Yeah, there. I'm going to put some spray on the rear wiper as well. Okay, there it comes out. Oh my god, look at the amount of spray. That is a lot as such. So yes, good amount of visibility. You sit high up in this car. Let's listen to an audio right away, which means I'm going to get into radio and I'm going to increase the volume from here. Audio quality is fantastic. These are actually the controls for the air conditioning. It gets a 4-zone climate control system. Engine start button. This is for the stop start system, but the steering wheel gets both reach and rake adjust. However, it is manual, not electric. At this price, probably you would expect electric. Now the thing is, they've used a lot of hard plastics lower down, but little soft material on the top. Meanwhile, let's get into reverse. What am I searching? What am I doing? This is the reverse parking camera. You see, it gets 360-degree parking sensors. Obviously, it gets adaptive guidelines as well. But since this car is so similar to the GLS, not much as such which is different here. And the fact that this being a lower trim actually misses out on certain features. I think it's best we start driving, because is this the GLE you should buy if you are on a budget? I certainly feel go for the 6-cylinder models, or probably for the GLS as well, but we'll leave that to the driving experience. Meanwhile, this is actually the switch for the wipers as well as for the indicators. This is the driving mode selector, so you can very conveniently get into reverse when you're trying to park the car. Very nice, very easy. I love the way Mercedes does it. After you're used to a Mercedes car, it's very difficult to actually use any other one. The gear selector, of course, and the horn. Horn is actually quite nice. I like the wood treatment here. Okay, there is a wireless charging pad, 2 USB-C charging sockets, and a 12-volt charging socket as well. Meanwhile, here you see, these are cup holders. Now press this button and check this out. Okay, check this out. That's also pretty cool, to lock your drink so that it doesn't spill. These small attention details that Mercedes does is so freaking awesome and fantastic without a doubt. Meanwhile, I wanted to show you how the key absolutely slots into place. There it is, proper key holder. Just look at the attention to detail. Absolutely crazy. What do you think about the dashboard design of this car? I think they should have differentiated it from the GLS, but hey, let's start driving right away. But before we start driving, couple of more things. I like the display. It shows you exactly which door is open. The display is absolutely phenomenal, and then they're still gone ahead and made an absolute new one for the S-Class, which is pretty cool. I love these handles. They're really very nice, finished in leather and very solid as well. And then there's metal here along with ambient lighting as well. Meanwhile, when I turn off the car, check this out. Okay, I turned off the car. It shows this Mercedes logo. And that's also pretty cool. In fact, if I close the door, guess what's going to happen? Here, I'm going to close the door. Check this out. So every time you turn on the car, it shows this beautiful display. That is so fantastic. I love the graphics. They've done a phenomenal job with the graphics. Meanwhile, there is a small problem which I'm facing. The thing is, at this price, I would definitely expect all the windows to roll down with the press of a button, but that is not the case here. So if I keep this button pressed, all the windows don't roll down. Yeah, there the sun blind is rolling down slowly. I'm going to keep the button pressed, and yeah, where are the windows? Why are the windows not rolling down? There they are rolling down. So this feature I was trying earlier, it did not work as such, but there now it is working fantastically well, which is pretty awesome. Now this has become kind of a basic feature, but since the made in India Volkswagen and Skoda cars are not getting it, I thought maybe we should show it with this particular car. Any which ways, let's start driving right away. All right, we're all set to go, which means first and foremost, I'm going to turn off the air conditioning of this car. Air conditioning off. We are going to get into settings, but you know what? That's the A-Class, right? I don't know why they're showing the A-Class. I'm going to get into manual mode. I'm going to turn off ESP as well. Yeah, ESP system off. Meanwhile, I don't have to change the drive modes as such. And here, hey Mercedes.
How may I help you? What can I do for you?
Engine data. And there we've got the beautiful engine data. Left foot on the brake, getting into drive mode, hazard light off, revving the motor, rev still almost 3000 RPM. And off we go. Performance is actually quite strong for what is a 4-cylinder engine. Now this is the 300d, which is actually powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder diesel motor. It is actually 1950cc motor, which really produces good amount of punch because it has 245 horsepower, which comes in at 4200 RPM. Meanwhile, the torque output is 500 Newton meters, which comes in at a low 1600 RPM and stays there till 2400 RPM. The result is there is good amount of low end, there's good amount of mid range, and although it kind of feels, you know, out of breath in the top end, overall performance is absolutely phenomenal. In fact, performance is so good, it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 7.9 seconds, which is pretty fast. And then you know what, it's also got this active brake assist, which we'll come to in a bit. Now you see, motor is super duper refined lower down. It actually feels like a petrol engine in terms of refinement, smoothness, refinement, everything is fantastic from this engine. In fact, you don't feel the lag lower down. Yeah, turbo lag is so well contained that the lag cannot be felt. Throttle response is very sharp indeed, and when you get on the gas at any RPM or on the throttle at any RPM, it absolutely lunges ahead, which is very surprising and pleasantly awesome for a car which happens to be an SUV, which does weigh up quite a lot as such. So yeah, the steering is so amazing. I'm completely shocked. The level of linearness of the steering wheel is absolutely baffling. No matter the speed, it feels so responsive and feedback rich. This is a phenomenal steering wheel. I love the way Mercedes has calibrated the steering wheel on its cars. It really weighs up beautifully well at high speed. Now we've made a quick stop to change the display on the instrument cluster. We are going to come into the sport one, and here we are, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor. Slight wheel spin. Okay, it upshifts around 4,500 RPM. Although I have engaged manual mode, it will not let me, make shifts because it will not hold on to a gear. It will make shifts when it feels like. Performance is so strong, this car will easily reach the double ton, and it keeps pulling and pulling and pulling. Even at high speeds, no issues at all. Although a little bit of road noise can be felt inside the cabin, but other than that, just fantastic. The motor really pulls very strongly, even after 100 kilometers per hour, even after 150 kilometers per hour, and there is not much of wind noise. Like I told you, there's some amount of road noise, but the car is actually aerodynamic with a CD of just 0.29, which again is phenomenal. Now I'm going to use the paddles to make shifts, but doesn't really help because it will upshift when it reaches around 4800 rpm. Agility is very nice indeed. Steering wheel is quite sharp, and little bit of drone can be felt from the diesel motor, especially in the higher end of the rev range. So past 3500 rpm, you can feel a bit here. When I apply the brakes, it's saying it's charging the battery. Of course, it doesn't get mild hybrid tech, which by the way the 450 petrol actually gets. Now this is the base engine, actually the base variant of the GLE, because the high variants obviously get a 6-cylinder engine, which is the 400d as well as the 450. The 450 also gets proper mild hybrid tech with a 48-volt battery. That is missing here, but those 6-cylinder engines are so powerful, they're more than 2 seconds faster to the ton, and also get air suspension. This one uses coil springs, steel springs, and the ride quality is not as good as the one on the air spring model. However, overall ride is good on good roads, but as you hit a bad patch of road, it completely makes you feel the road surface, because that just doesn't make it feel comfortable. Bad roads are not its forte, and that is a problem with the coil springs. The ride quality is not great. Just being very honest here, the ride quality could have been a lot better. The problem is that, you know, there is a thunk or a thud inside the cabin which you can feel over bad roads, and does kind of move around a bit. Feels floaty as such, the overall ride, but over bad roads now, you do feel a lot inside the cabin and becomes very uncomfortable as well. The handling again has a lot of body roll because, you know, soft suspension. But in spite of the fact that it has a lot of body roll, still it's actually fun to drive because of the steering wheel. The steering is so fantastic. It weighs up brilliantly well at high speeds. Very linear, very progressive, rich with feel and feedback, and is just so pinpoint accurate, which is kind of, like, not kind of, it's very surprising for a car which actually weighs quite a lot. Now obviously high speed stability is fantastic because it has got a long wheelbase, and you can hear a bit of the vibrations as such. That is largely because the suspension is not as good as, say, the engine or the steering wheel. The steering wheel is a delight completely. Now there are 3 drive modes on offer. There is no sport mode on offer on any GLE. Even the 6-cylinder models do not get a sport mode, which is quite unfortunate, which means that you know, this car is not meant for sporty driving. Even the GLS doesn't get a sport mode as such. However, it has got a comfort mode, which is actually the default mode. There is an eco mode as well, which is basically, you know, dulls down the performance in lieu of better efficiency. And there's an off-road mode, which again makes changes to the ESP system. Not much of a change. I believe these modes are going to alter the engine map a bit, and the steering wheel again a bit, and the ESP system. That's about it, because it does not have, okay, it might also alter the gearbox or this, you know, this 9-speed unit is absolutely phenomenal with shift, because it's able to get you the right shift at the most of the times. It's always in the right gear, and it doesn't really hesitate to put you in a lower gear, but you don't need to be in a lower gear because the torque rush, the lumpy, nice mid-range grunt is so fantastic that you don't really need to always be in a lower gear as such, because it's able to pull strongly even in a higher gear. Now talking about the gearbox, it's a torque converter unit, so it's not very fast with shifts as such, but for the most part it gets you the right gear. And something which could have been improved on this car are the brakes. I mean, there is a strong initial bite, but you know what, stopping power could be slightly better. I definitely want stronger brakes on this car. Here we are going to make changes to the instrument cluster, and I'm going to get into the classic display, again one of my favorite. And here we are, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, rev still 2750 rpm. Now because this is a 4MATIC system, it really never ever loses grip. Even around the corners it has got good amount of grip. Even in the rain it has got good amount of grip. But the 4MATIC system ensures that there is no loss of traction as such, and even with traction control off, rarely does it spin its wheels. That is obviously the level of traction on this car, and the great engineering bits. Very safe, very sure-footed car. Only thing is the ride could be better, and that's the only gripe I have majorly with the GLE. Now you would prefer the 4-cylinder model just for the efficiency. This one will return somewhere between 8 to 14 kilometers per liter depending on your driving style. In stop-go traffic, obviously it's going to drink more fuel. Out on the highway it's going to be more efficient. But let's not forget one thing. This has a massive fuel tank capacity of 85 freaking liters. Yeah, that's right. On a full tank of fuel, it can almost go 1000 kilometers. That's obnoxious. Okay, the GLS does slightly lesser than that. Obviously, the GLS does not come with a 4-cylinder engine. It only comes with 6-cylinder engine and slightly heavier as well. But that's obnoxiously awesome fuel efficiency. That is one of the major reasons why you would actually opt for the 4-cylinder version of the GLE. but in terms of performance, you don't miss anything when compared to the 6 cylinders. The 6 cylinders obviously get air suspension, which I think this car definitely needs, because the ride, again we are back to the ride quality, is not as great as I would have expected it to be from a GLE. Now making a U-turn, no problem at all. Just see, so sure-footed onto the throttle. Steering really centers very fast, and the motor is actually quite fast revving as well. This diesel engine is so amazing. I can't believe a 4-cylinder engine is able to perform so well in a car which is actually on the heavier side. I love these displays as well. These are the understated ones. Really nice. You can see the float from the car, which is very good for a good road, but unfortunately in India we have such bad roads now, you can feel a lot inside the cabin. Any which ways, the off-road mode also is not that great because this car does not get air suspension. Now since it doesn't get air suspension, the ride height cannot be altered, and the overall ground clearance is not really adequate for hardcore off-roading. Although the car is capable, the engine is good, the 4MATIC system is fantastic, but the ground clearance might not be very apt. So you should definitely get the higher variant, which are the 6-cylinder models. But there is another problem. For the 6-cylinder diesel, the 400d, you actually pay 21.4 lakhs more than this one, than the 300d. That's a lot of money. That's more than 20% the cost of this car. Now this is the GLE 300d, priced at 96.6 lakhs on road Mumbai. Meanwhile, the 400d is actually priced at an obnoxious 1.18 crores on road Mumbai, and the petrol, which is the 450, that is priced at rupees 1.15 crores. Now the thing is that the GLS is not too far away. You just pay an additional 15 lakh rupees, rather 14 lakh rupees, and you can get either the GLS 400 or the GLS 450, because both of the engines of the GLS are very similarly priced. Just gonna get out of this, and there it comes out. I love this display as well. It tells me how much gas I'm using, how much brake I'm using, and also the angle of turn. But unfortunately, that seems like a GLA there. So you know what? They really need to update the graphics on some of the screens of this Mercedes GLE. So as I see it, the GLE is fantastic in a lot of ways, specifically the engine and the steering wheel, and of course in terms of space. Although for the price, you expect more features and definitely air suspension as well, because this engine really eggs you to push harder and faster and really enjoy the drive experience. But the suspension doesn't support you in that regard. It has decent level of comfort, but you expect more, specifically on bad roads where this car is not able to manage as well as, say, the GLS, because air suspension for the win. So guys, this is my vlog of the Mercedes GLE. Just get the 6-cylinder models, and if you have an additional 14 lakhs cash, close your eyes and get the GLS, because the GLS is just so much better. Here around the corner, that roll is there, but the steering is so well calibrated. It is obnoxiously fun driving this car. If you like this vlog, make sure to give the thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Look at the way the gearbox is taking its own sweet time, because the whole premise is of comfort. The lack of sport mode really makes that point strong. And on that disappointment, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye. Sometimes my genius is so frightening.